First thing I do to duplicate the checkbook register is to copy the columns of information, the date, check number, item description, credit, debit, and balance. Put that into the spreadsheet. This is for a new year, and for me this is going to be what I did in 2003. So here's the balance carried over from last year. This is our new starting balance. And what I like to do is come up here to Windows and split the panes. That has a nice bold line to show where your year started and where the carryover was, and also do a window freeze panes, and that allows this bottom half to move up so that this heading is with you for the rest of the year. And so now I'll just fill in some data and we'll come back. I have 3 months of data in here. Now to have the spreadsheet do the balancing for me, I'm going to use the formula F5, which is the balance to begin with on line 5, plus D6, which is the credit for the current line, minus E6, which is the debit for the current line. And that formula will calculate for us. And because it does such a wonderful job, we'll do a Control-C to copy, and Shift, and then go down, Control-V, we'll paste it, and it automatically does the totals for us. So that's duplicating the checkbook register. Now we're going to work on how we're going to do our cash envelopes when we don't have cash we're dealing with. This is money that's in the bank. How much of the balance is actually available for us in our general funds, and how much is going to our house, which includes rent, utilities, our car, insurance, things that we pay with by check. And also for me, I wanted to have a life savings for something big that's going to be life-changing, like replacing the car or buying a house. Now to do our work towards doing our cash stuffing, and also where money is going to be coming out of our cash stuffings for different categories: house, car, life, general funds. So the first item is rent. That's going to come out of house. Instead of just using numbers, I use cell referencing in order to do it. So this is going to be equal to H5 minus E6. And that draws money out. The power, again, it's under the house category, is going to be equal to H6 now. That's the last entry in that column, H6. Back up, get the H in there. H6 minus E7. And it took cash out. That's going to come out of the general fund envelope. So that's going to be equal to K5 minus E8. And then we have our payday. Now this is where we start stuffing money in our cash envelopes. So and here's the amounts I've decided from budget analysis from the previous year, how much has to go into the different categories. So it's going to be $350 out of here. So those are reminders of what I need to put in, and this here is going to be a subtraction. We'll get to that in a second. So out of my pay there, I'm going to refer to H7. So it's going to be equal H7 plus 350. And this is going to be equal to I5 equals I5 plus $30. And life is going to be equal to J5 plus $20. Now on this last one, the general fund, it's going to be a little bit tricky. It's going to be equal to K, the last entry in that column, equal to K8 equal K8 plus, then parentheses, oh, sorry about that, it's going to be equal to plus, parentheses, it's going to be equal to what's the credit here in D9 plus D9 minus the hard count of $400. That way we don't have to calculate what's in there. The spreadsheet will do the calculating for us. And that's going to show how much was added into there. But you'll make mistakes with this cell referencing, so I had to come up with a formula to help me to double check. And that's what this formula is here. And if I F2 to get rid of the comma in the front, I have it up there so you can read it, big enough you can read it. What this is going to do is going to take, on this curve thing, it's going to take what's in F5, which is the balance, and it's going to take the sum of these columns, or up here I might as well, these columns, subtract them, and it should be equal to 0 if these cash envelopes contributions match what our pay is, then we're good. So we'll hit enter. Oops, can you hit backspace to get rid of that comment? And there it's 0. Now I can copy this formula in this cell, Control C to copy, then highlight the cells I want to copy it to, and Control V, and it pastes it in. And I'm off on this line here. Oh boy. Okay, I made a typo on this right here. I forgot to put the equal in front, so I need to do an F2 to where it's going to be equal to J5 plus $20. Now we get to 0, which is verifying that what I have in my cash envelopes is equal to the balance in my checking. And that's how I do it, to where I do cash. Because way in 2003, you actually went down to the power company and you paid your power bill. You went to the water company, you paid your water bill. Now that we've got computers, things have changed to where the cash envelopes at home is kind of hard to do when, like with me, the employer, they required you to have a bank account and the money was deposited directly into your bank account. You didn't get a check to cash. It went straight to your bank account. Now your money is in the bank account. You have to do the work. And the utility companies, they started demanding that you have automatic withdrawal from your checking account. So I had to come up with this here cash envelope in a spreadsheet, and whenever I get my monthly check or checking account statement, I balance the statement with the like you would normally do in your checkbook. I balance the statement there, and then I go in and balance out what my cash envelope stuffing using columns is. I hope that makes sense, but this is what I've been doing since, like I said, 1980. To round the information out to where cash columns, cash envelopes, they aren't working by themselves. This top part here, this is my monthly budgets, and this is for the month of December of 2003. What I have is the total for the current month in the different headings, and I also have the previous total of the previous months, and then I calculate what the average is. This helps me be conscious of what my budget is and how much everything is going. And down the bottom is where I have the totals for each month, so that I can take a quick glance to see where things are happening. Like, why is it so much cheaper in January and November and December, but it's expensive in that part of the month? That gives you a clue of problems you need to look for in how to budget your money, to be aware that in these months things are cheaper. Some things are cheaper. And that's what helps. And then also, in addition to that, at the end of the year, I do a budget analysis to where I go through the different areas that I'm budgeting for. And the main areas are car, and that comes out of the cash. You usually write a check to pay these. House is usually a check. And I have the different areas where I add up to what the total is, and that's how I determine how much I have to take out each payday in order to pay for the house. And these are the different expenditures of the house. The apartment, I had a house and an apartment. I had to move to another city to get a job. And this is adding up to where this is the grand total of living expenses for housing that I had to add up. And then I have groceries and meal. I found out my first month of budgeting way back in 1980. Found out I was spending more on meals out than what I was on groceries. And that is my main problem area I constantly have to keep track of. So easy to think, oh, I'm too tired to go home and cook something. I'm just going to get something to eat on the way. Well, I end up spending more on meals out than what I did on groceries. And then I just work out my base life and what my paycheck is. And this here is based on net take-home pay. Because the insurance, health insurance, that was automatically taken out before I got the money. And only my net money was going into my bank account. So gross didn't really work out. But I did look at gross on another formula, another page where I'm keeping track of my budget. So hopefully this will tie it all in and will make sense, and it will help you in this modern world where it's inconvenient to take and have all your cash at home trying to stuff envelopes in order to pay your bills, because some of us need that tactile experience of touching something and handling something. That's what the envelopes are. It makes you more, some of us, we need that tactile touch to make us more conscious of the money and what we're doing with it. And this tells us whenever I have a problem out of go down here, out of this $5,000 I have in my checking account, only $2,000 is available in my general fund. So I don't feel like, $5,000 is a lot of money. I can just go out and buy what I want. No, I can't, because this amount is budgeted to pay living expenses, mandatory bills. They have to be paid before anything else. So this lets me know what I have in my general fund, and I have to be aware of that. And this life savings, like I say, this is for life-changing events. You need to start saving for those life-changing events before they happen, or you'll have to take out a loan and you'll get behind on your finances very quickly. So then this is money, this life savings, like I say, this is for big expenses. Like if the car breaks and you have to have it fixed or you can't work, you got to have that car fixed. Or if you decide I've saved enough money, I need to move up to buy a house to where it's cheaper to own than it is to rent. So sorry if I'm evangelizing, but this, like I say, I've been doing this since 1980, and it has definitely helped my life, changed my life to go through years, 10 years of unemployment, highs and lows. I'm very emphatic about having a budget. And if it's a simple budget, at least it's a budget and that you can follow and help yourself get through life financially.